becomes controlled by patronage that media actors in the media industry are subjected to. Now, what was involved in the state capture beyond the military? After the use of the military, there have been other actions progressively facilitating the capture. One of them, and again started right away in 1986, has been the capture of the economy. Capture of the economy, for the economy to be controlled by the family of Mr. Museveni. And that has had, one can write a book on what has been done to capture the economy. Takeover of state-controlled corporations, or the corporations were taken over, ostensibly in a privatization exercise. The takeover of the financial institutions, the takeover of the cooperatives, and so many other things in capturing the economy and controlling it as a family. That capture of the economy went hand in hand with structural impoverishment of the population. Structural impoverishment of the population, where the population has been progressively disempowered economically through government policies of taxation, of control of land and evictions from land and things like that, control of course, capital, and so on and so forth. Thirdly, has been the capture of the means of building knowledge and giving information to people. So denial of information. I was just talking about the capture of the media, but denial of information. That's why we can't all hold meetings with the public, to deny information to the public and to be the sole provider of information and use it to manipulate the people's will by what they know. There has been capture of the politics through commercialization of politics. So first of all, you have an impoverished society and you commercialize, and this has been deliberate, the commercialization of politics, that you can't be elected unless you have tons of money. And that's why even nomination fees for anybody to be nominated has been progressively hiked, so that even just to qualify to be a candidate, you need a lot of money. The commercialization of politics, so that all those who come into the political arena can be controlled. This then has included the patronage system, giving favors for the political elite, mainly favors of jobs, favors of money and means of getting money, business, and so on. led to the control of the elite by patronage. That's why Mr. Museveni has officially hundreds of millions of shillings for donation of our money, which he can donate as he wants. Formally, that is the patronage system. This whole creation of factionalization of the country, chopping up to get more districts, more sub-counties, more parishes, more what, so that they can appoint chiefs, can appoint RDCs, can appoint what, to give jobs for patronage. That all has been part of the construct of state capture. Now, the broad part, the other flip side of the broad problem is that political parties have failed to adjust to the reality of the state capture. All our political parties failed to adjust to confront the problem of state capture. If you have a problem and you don't adjust to be able to solve it, it destroys you. It's like, you know, the reason we are black and some people in the world are white, it is because of the problem of the sun. We who live under the sun the whole year round, and a very strong sun that comes direct closest, we are closest to the sun because of where we are on the globe. If we did not develop the black pigment to protect us against the sun rays, we would be destroyed by cancer, by skin cancer. So that's why when Europeans come here, they have to use a sunscreen. They have developed oils that screen, that protect them against the sun. So you have to adopt to defeat the problem. That's why viruses are still rampaging the world, because viruses have the greatest capacity to adapt to the problems they confront. You make a medicine that will destroy them in another way, they must adapt immediately by changing their form to defeat the medicine. And that's why you hear of variants. Viruses produce variants to defeat those who want to destroy them. Parties have not learned from viruses to adapt themselves to the problem of state capture. Parties have continued to act as if they are democratic institutions functioning in a democratic society, where there are two main roles of political parties would play out, which is, first of all, organizing the political ideas into a coherent political program. That is the first role of political parties, to aggregate ideas of citizens into a coherent political program that can manage a country. And secondly, to develop leaders for elections so that they are chosen to manage, to implement their program. When there is state capture, with all the components that I have been talking about, you are not going to just present yourself like a political party functions in Europe, that, you know, you are organizing democratically in a free environment, and you are going to compete in the same politics that I told you are captured by commercialization. So everybody you see in parliament there has paid his way. I hear now the minimum you have to spend to get into parliament is like 500 million at the time of the last election. By the next election, I guess it will be like $1 billion before you are able to join parliament. And the same going downwards. And I have told you, the economy is under the capture of Mr. Museveni. So, where will you get the billions to participate in the politics? Even to be nominated, for a person to be nominated, you need 3 million to be nominated to parliament. We have 500 constituencies. So in order to nominate just candidates, you need 1.5 billion. And you have all your candidates are impoverished by the system. So how do they participate? Eventually, you will have to be co-opted by those who have money, either individually or institutionally. And that's why even now some people are panicking. They say Muhoozi may be the next person coming, meaning that he's the one who will be holding the pass to distribute to those whom they want to bring to the politics. That is the broad problem. State capture and inability to adjust for parties, to adjust to function in that environment without being co-opted. A political party in Uganda cannot hold a fundraising and anybody gives them money. Have you ever had a political party conducting a fundraising like happens in democratic institutions? Who will expose himself or herself as being the enemy of the state to write a check for an opposition political party? Nobody. So political parties cannot raise money. They are impoverished. Now they are, of course, also depending on government money through the Electoral Commission, whatever little they give them. But you know that is just scrums. In fact, I forgot to say, while the elites are co-opted by patronage of jobs and business and outright cash payouts, the population also receives patronage of handouts of crumbs. They get a basket of crumbs, tiny crumbs, which they throw to the population that is totally impoverished, and the population is thankful for the little they get. That is what this parish development model, those are crumbs that are thrown at the population to patronize the population. And they are normally thrown towards the elections, those crumbs of distributing some money or some materials to plant or to do what, you know. That is the patronage to the population. So the political parties which cannot raise money must depend either on the government, formally or informally. If you want to conduct a meaningful campaign, you will have to adapt. And you also know that if you want to be elected, because the person to announce the results is the capital of the state, because who announces the results? It is Mr. Museveni and his captured institutions. So if you want to be announced a winner, you have to play ball with what they want. Even if you are from the opposition, you have to be friendly in order to be announced a winner. That's why Mr. Museveni was saying there is good DP and bad DP. The good DP, he can allow them to be announced. Those are indeed not harmful to him and what he's doing. And that goes for all political parties. There will be good FDC, bad FDC, good NUP, bad NUP. You know, depending on who has aligned themselves with them. So this is the problem. State capture, failure to adapt, to find means of surviving the hostile environment of state capture by political parties. In the FDC, I became completely convinced
on what has possibly created this kind of situation. Number one is the two centers of power that we have in the party today. In 2012, when our founding father decided to leave the leadership of FDC, it was generally accepted that there was a need to fight the dictator leading a cruel junta using two prongs. The first prong that we prescribed as medicine to this dictatorship was activism, or defiance as it's commonly known. The second was elections. The formation of the People's Government, whose founding I was part of, was meant to reclaim our victory of 2016 using civil disobedience. Of course, we ran several campaigns together with the president, the people's president, Dr. Kizza Besigye, running risky ventures across the country, some of which led to fatalities, including death. And therein lies our foundation. Therein is our DNA, the foundation of which was built on defiance, the foundation of which was watered by the blood of common Ugandans. After a number of years of close working together, today there is a contestation whether elections are useful in ousting the Museveni dictatorship. With People's Government declaring war on elections through transition now, no elections campaign. This approach conflicts with Article 12 of the FDC Constitution, which commands members to register and vote and to canvass for votes. Ironically, the Deputy President of the People's Government, who also doubles as the Lord Mayor of Kampala, Elias Lukwago, continues to hold an elective office, making it unbelievable that this is a serious campaign that is being brought to Ugandans. I see this as the highest hypocrisy amongst some of our colleagues who have chosen to preach water but drink wine. The FDC maintains that both elections and activism are powerful and useful tools and will be used hand in hand in our bid to bring down the dictatorship in Uganda. For any organization to strive, there is a need to have one central command. Today, the FDC finds herself having two competing centers of power, one residing at number 6 Katonga Road and the other at Najanankumbi. Both these centers of power are fighting for the same political space. We are going to be trying to work within a very short time to narrow the gap between the two in order for us to work in harmony. The second issue that seems to be bringing this conflict is the issue relating to our election of 2021. As the country is aware, the FDC took a resolution to participate and field candidates in every position as much as possible. I was FDC flag bearer and definitely took the lead in this entire campaign on behalf of FDC in 2021 general elections, mainly in defense of my party. I took a great risk and made great sacrifices because I had the option of running and winning as Member of Parliament. We had piled pressure on Dr. Kiza Besigye, who had earlier declined to run for the 5th time. I am sure there were better prepared members of FDC to run in my place, but I firmly believe that some of them didn't do so for the reason of political preservation, which is really a natural political phenomenon. I was abandoned by people I worked with, and for many years, I ran a lone campaign supported by a few fearless and committed comrades, and I wish to thank them so dearly for standing above self-interest. It is very strange that the same people who were sitting up there at the high table in Zambia, whenever I went to their areas, they just ran away from me. They hid from me. I came to Kampala here, I didn't see the Lord Mayor of Kampala, even if he boasts of having a 200,000 strong support within the city. And this happened everywhere, and there is evidence to that effect. Those proponents of the Zambia meeting decided to betray the party and the cause of the struggle. This act of hostility to the party, including campaigning against our official flag bearers, is a hostility to the party for which it's never too late to proceed under our constitution. Funding of the 2021 elections, which seems to be one of the biggest interests that is in the news now in our country, was one of our greatest challenges during the campaign and the election processes. A resolution to borrow from friendly sources without interest was passed by the Working Committee and the National Executive Committee, chaired by my then deputy, Owechitibwa Joyce Nabosa Sebugwawo. To the best of my knowledge, a borrowing was made and accountability for all funds spent made to the first Working Committee and NEC preceding the 2021 general elections. The audited accounts have since been presented to the National Council and the Electoral Commission. Non-public disclosure of some sources of funds for the campaigns, disclosure of some sources of funds for the campaigns is not possible, because throughout our life as a party, we have maintained a policy where sources of funding that don't wish to be disclosed are kept confidential. And we got to take note of this. We are not going to the marketplaces to betray people who have supported us financially. Some of them are in business. Some of them may be working in government, but do not believe in the government of the day. Some of them may be ordinary citizens who may not want to be disclosed. And so the last thing we shall do is to betray our allies. This is meant definitely to protect our funders from wanton attacks by the junta. The allegation of funds received from hostile groups by the party was made by our founding president in 2020. In private, he claimed that he had intelligence information that money had been received by the party from the Museveni establishment. It took us 2 years to try quietly to resolve this matter without much success. So this is not a matter of yesterday. It's something that has been hovering around for nearly 3 years now. This accusation came to light, to public light, during the 15th National Council meeting held on 25th to 26th November 2022, raised by our founding president, Dr. Kizza Besigye. We decided that the media would be left out of that particular session because we wanted to discuss internal matters, and therefore this was not captured in the cameras. The acrimony arising from the debate moved the council to resolve to have an elders reconciliation committee set up using the procedures of the party. And these were nominated by me, taken to working committee, which is the cabinet of the president, taken to the National Executive Committee, approved by the National Executive Committee. I was asked by NEC to go and contact the protagonists in this area, which were thought to be Nathan Nandala on one side and Dr. Kizza Besigye on the other, with the list and the terms of reference. Each of them consented to both the list of elders approved by NEC and the terms of reference. What that meant is that this committee was given the confidence of everybody, including our friends who sit in NEC, who sit on working committee, who decided to go and address their grievances in the media. The main accuser and the accused and other top leaders of the party appeared before the committee. It was my expectation that well-meaning members of the party would wait for the elders committee report. What happened in Zambia is a case of blackmail, dishonesty, coupled with fear for internal elections. The meeting held in Zambia once again raised the same accusations with just a few days to the 16th National Council meeting that shall be held next week on Friday, the 28th July 2023. Our accusers offer no new evidence of fault conducted. And so, for me, really, we have been accused not once or twice. We are subject of endless attacks on allegations being handled by the Elders Committee. The Zambia consultative meeting was one way meant to subvert the report of the Elders Reconciliation Committee, which is an act of sacrilege against the National Council and by default all the other organs of the party. I wish to state for the record, we have names built over time and families and friends that are hurting over these unending accusations. Also for the record, the party has never got money from Museveni's regime as we are accused. The only money that the party receives from government of Uganda through the National Electoral Commission is legal and has always been fully accounted for. We understand the tension within the party over the leadership positions in the impending internal elections and the interests at stake. It's only moral right to accuse somebody and substantiate the accusation to prove it. Alongside this accusation is a reckless statement by the Honorable Ibrahim Semuju, my younger brother, suggesting that the party is at the verge of being taken to Museveni by the Secretary General, just like leaders in the Democratic Party and the UPC did. Honorable Semuju has not been in the party long enough to have felt the amount of sacrifice most in the current leadership endured to found and sustain it, probably because he only joined it a few years ago. Even as a practicing journalist, he seemed not to take note of the rough journey the current leadership has taken to bring this party where it is now. He can be forgiven because he still has a lot to learn about our history. On internal elections as a conflict area, I would like to inform the country that next sitting on 12th May 2023 passed an election roadmap and guidelines. Later were approved. This set in motion an electoral process that will be run independently by our party electoral commission. NEC, sitting on 16th June 2023, debated a possible extension of actual elections, and upon approval of a motion moved by Virginia Mugenyi, the election roadmap was extended to allow time to resolve internal disputes. This extension of the roadmap is now being implemented, and our election in the villages will commence on 21st July 2023. I would like to make a clarion call for our accusers to participate in this election. We will not allow anybody to fight a democratic process, because it is upon this that we have one of the greatest leadership democratic credentials ever in the politics of this country. A new accusation, unfortunately, by Honorable Semuju is that ISO is compiling ISO has been recruited in compiling the FDC party register. As per the party constitution, Article 15, every party member shall register at their village, which is the party branch and the nucleus. Therefore, we need to understand that these registers were actually identified by the party, district party chairpersons and the leadership in the districts. It is therefore one of the greatest insults for any member of the party, most especially a senior member who speaks for us, to go and even suggest that ISO is in control of the party. All of us as the FDC are duty bound to protect the name of the party, and any allegations labeled against any party leader should be truthful and provable. The FDC party is implementing the roadmap to elect new leaders from the village up to the National Delegates Conference, who shall elect the new NEC in November 2023. These allegations that are intended to put to disrepute the leadership and the membership of the FDC are not going to be taken lightly. And as president of the FDC, I am going to move for disciplinary action to be taken against these errant colleagues of ours. Now, I would like to turn my attention as I conclude to the proponents of the attacks on the FDC. They have said a lot of things that they cannot prove, not knowing that they also have skeletons in their closets that we can prove. I take note of the threats by my deputy Elias Lukwago, who is mobilizing for violence during the forthcoming National Council. This is something new in the culture of the FDC that he wants to introduce here. I appeal to my comrades to learn the new culture to which he was ushered in about 2 years ago. I have, of course, the record of the Lord Mayor is very clear. You know, he's been hopping from organization to organization, and this is being done for political expedience. He thought he would be a mercenary in the FDC, but we do not have room for any mercenary here. We don't. I took exception to the alleged dealings between Lord Mayor Lukwago with General Saleh. It was public knowledge. You displayed documents in the media and everywhere where General Saleh threatened to withdraw his political support in a handwritten document on ordinary paper. We got concerned about that. And naturally, as the chief executive of this party, I had questions to ask. When I raised this matter with him, he got angry, personal, and almost physical. He told me that this matter was between him and General Saleh, and I should keep off it. So I decided to step back and see whether this would be resolved between the two. But as far as I understand, it's not yet a resolved matter. As Deputy President coming from Buganda, he is expected to provide leadership in the running of the party programs in the region. Unfortunately, he has been reluctant and resisted implementation of activities of the party in Buganda, instead preferring to be in cohort with the National Unity Platform. He has also not been receptive to defiance and activism, because I would imagine that being a person who is in control of the city of Kampala, he should have been our frontline soldier in activism. But all we see about him is putting on good suits and running to court whenever we activists are slaughtered in the streets of Kampala. Our spokesperson has misused his office as a platform to attack the party. And as I said earlier, he has failed to keep the image of the party and deserves disciplinary action. We have received information about the financing of the Nsambia meeting from suspicious sources. Some of the people who claim to have financed the meeting have never contributed a single penny to the well-being of the FDC. Today they are masquerading, they are saying, you know, they love FDC, and you know, they contributed almost 100 million to the running of that activity. It is common knowledge in the public that the Honorable Semuju remains one of the most traveled members of parliament. I have received complaints from some members of parliament that the chief whip is taking foreign trips from them, some of whom have never traveled since they came to this parliament, the 11th parliament. And we do not know how this is happening. We, as the leadership here, call for calm amongst the FDC party members. This is our party for which we have invested our youthful energies and lives. And we shall never sell it to anyone at any amount of billions of shillings as accused. With humility, we implore you to build strong grassroots structures on which the present and future leaders of our party shall stand. I see the group there clamoring for leadership here, wanting to destroy this party using that mode to ascend to leadership. What do they want to do? To come and preside over a destroyed party? I think they should rethink their steps. Before anybody hangs us, we are humbly appealing to our comrades who have chosen to accuse us. Don't be the judges in your own case. With the accusations on our heads, we shall be coming to you, our party members, in your respective localities, in the hills and the valleys of this country, in the nooks of this country, to defend your party and to defend ourselves. In conclusion, we are well aware of both our friends and adversaries. Of course, NRM under Museveni cannot be our friends. They can't. And this is the reason why, despite the opportunity to participate in IPOD, even at the highest level, we have shunned meeting Mr. Museveni either in public or in private. We will cherish and support our friends while continuing the fight against this dictatorial regime that has sucked the lives of Ugandans. I thank you very much. One Uganda, one people. I say this for God and my country.
What I have told you. And from there, quite evidently, some kind of a war broke out. But the National Council, having heard, because Nandala, of course, replied to what I said in the National Council, and I was not accusing Nandala as a person. This whole thing has now been branded like it's a Besigye Nandala duel. There was nothing like that. It was the party leadership as a whole that I was engaging over what had happened in the party. It was not specific to Nandala, but Nandala chose to reply at that National Council meeting, and the National Council decided, in its wisdom, that there should be set up a committee of elders to now investigate this matter thoroughly, try to reconcile all of us who were having issues in those matters, so that the party can once again move smoothly. It took some time for that committee to be appointed, and before the committee could be appointed, the mobilization against me was in progress, intensifying. But I was not very bothered. Eventually, the committee was appointed by the party president. He asked me whether the people he had appointed, I am fine with them. I said, I have no problem with anybody, provided they get what will help the party. And I appeared before the committee. But while the committee was sitting, the committee they themselves appointed was sitting, they set up on a campaign across the country. They called leaders of all the districts of Busoga and started discussing what the committee they set up was supposed to handle. They started showing how Besigye is the problem, how he has received money, he never accounts, how he has, I don't know, done what, how he's a tribalist, he doesn't want people from the east, and so on and so forth. From Busoga, they went to Mbale and held a meeting with all the districts of the other east. Then they went to Lango and held a meeting with the districts of Lango, went to Acholi, went. In the meantime, their committees here seated. In fact, in one of the meetings that was in Busoga, the chair of the committee was also invited there. And that has eventually created a problem even within the committee. So, I think all that is possibly what culminated in some of our members deciding to talk amongst themselves about how to save the party. The ones who were convened by Honorable Semuju. I think now, and they are working on their own. I am not involved with them. But I think they considered that where things had reached, they should invite leaders of the party and see how to rescue the party. The other contradiction that is there is, of course, about the election. Because the FDC...
The president is a real engineer with a family and friends and relatives. For a while now, we have faced constant attacks, blackmail, and propaganda by people who do not wish FDC well, but are driven by selfish ambitions for power and the prospect of getting rich by assuming leadership of the party. If they were real genuine members of the party, you don't go and destroy the party in public. You come and fight internally. It is like a wife and a husband. Instead of fighting in your bedroom, you decided to go and fight on the street where everybody sees you and you are naked. So those are people who are selfish and don't wish this party well. This group of people have made it their mission to bring us down, in the end tarnishing the image of the party they profess to be part of. As FDC has got a very robust conflict management system through which we resolve issues without necessarily affecting our cohesion, our togetherness, our cohesion. On many occasions, using these systems and mechanisms, we have tried to bring our brothers and sisters on table to understand what their grievances are and address them in-house. This is what is expected of a reputable political organization. We are, however, shocked with the wild allegations which were said during the Samba meeting. They were real wild. You recall one member of parliament got up and said, he came here, he had to wait for me to go out of the country so that he can wait for Kaija to sign his form. All of you remember we're in COVID. No plane was going out of this country and no plane coming in. A whole energetic, heavy MP to make such an allegation. You will know that this was just an attack on me as a person. Without anything, but just attack. Of course, the meeting was basically Nandala, Amuriat. The whole discussion during the Assembly meeting and the previous attacks are anchored on fresh falsehoods and a very dangerous ploy to damage the reputations were built over a long time which is very painful. We have built this over a long time. Of course, Honorable Semuju Nganda, our Lord Mayor Lukwago, and others have continuously peddled claims that we received large sums of money from President Museveni, what they called unknown sources, to hand over FDC to him. This is just pedestrian, just thinking from this faction. FDC is a political party with structures and stakeholders. It's not a personal property that you just hand over to anyone. I want to tell our Constitution, Article 13, it says any member who goes to another party ceases to be a member of what? Of the FDC. Sebugwa went, she was a deputy president, she ceased to be a member. Which structure did she go with? Even her family structures, I'm sure she never went with it. So I cannot, carry a structure on a pickup, on a roller to take to Museveni. Unless for them they have a formula how they want to carry it on a pickup, and they will tell us. Secondly, who alleges must prove. Why can't they lay evidence on table for all they see or they saw? Why are they not putting evidence? Why are you alleging? It is because they are alleging to people who have reputation. And they believe that if they soil us, the public will not trust us. But we want to state, the public has tested us, the international world has tested us, and they know which type of person we are, and they trust us. Honorable Semuja and others have also claimed, I made a deal with President Museveni to hand over FDC in the exchange for Bank of Uganda Governor, Job, now Minister of Finance. This allegation has been around since 2012. I want to respond by saying my qualification, my experience and expert are very sufficient to have those positions. Who doubts me? However, no one has ever approached me with that offer, and I'm not interested in working with Museveni. Whatever you are saying is just peddling falsehoods for their personal reasons. In fact, if I want to go to work, World Bank is waiting for me. World Bank is waiting for me. Not Bank of Uganda. And I consult for so many banks, World Bank, international banks. They allege that we used the mysterious money to procure vehicles for 2021 general elections. These vehicles were paid over a period of time, rather than by a single deposit. And we have evidence we're going to share with you. They were paid over a period of time. These attacks are glaring, deliberated to dwell us, so that Honorable Semuju and his clique have their way in taking over the party for selfish ambitions. These armed with the power of the FDC members shall not allow it to happen. I want to call on members of FDC. You should not allow this to happen. You shouldn't. You have heard these are newcomers. One is about 2 years. Another one is less than 10 years. But they are here wanting to take us. We have been in the trenches for the entire life. Like we mentioned earlier, Honorable Semuju's clique has made allegation without providing any evidence. despite constant requests to submit the same. If this is not malice, what is it? Why don't you bring evidence? You say on such and such a day, you saw us in the State House picking money. But you cannot provide. As human beings, we are tempted to follow the path they have taken in the past month of maligning us. However, as seasoned, respectable leaders, we shall not. We are respectable. We shall only provide the evidence to confirm who is who. We have decided to share something for you to appreciate of the person and the character of Honorable Semuju in fraudulent drawing public funds in millions of shillings for activities he has never undertaken. We're going to share with you. In only less than 6 months, a man got money from the public, 378 million. If we give you for all the years, you can run away. He claimed to have traveled. If you get information we're getting in some of those areas, he never traveled. He was in one country, in 3 countries on one same day, which are far apart. Far apart. He tells us that Museveni should declare his relatives he has employed in Parliament as the chief whip, as now a whip. Who are those working and being paid in his office by Parliament? Never say you have a piece in your, a speck in your eye when you have a log in your eye. All this we are going to share with you, and you are going to do it for your own analysis to confirm what a leader you have who claims to be clean, yet and we have more documents we shall share. For us, we have evidence. We are waiting for theirs. Let us go back to the memory lane. Of course, some of you don't know, in 2001, we participated in the election. Our president was Dr. Besigye. We did 2011. We did 2006, 2011, 2016. These general elections were when Dr. Besigye was a presidential candidate. And we were very well funded. I want to state I was the Deputy Treasurer General. I have evidence and information. The first worst funded election is of 2021. The other one was over 10 billion, 15, but this one was not even 3 billion. Why? Because the so-called who would have been able to assist were not there. And why? Because it was in Yamrat standing and was properly abandoned. In Kampala here, I will give an example. Road Mayor Lukwago ran away from every candidate of FDC. Every candidate of FDC, including Engineer Amuriat. In fact, we have a petition which says he went against the party. If you cannot support your own, now you want to come to support who? Amuriat suffered. That applies to my brother Nandala Semuju. He ran away. But I want to give you a simple experiment to show who are those who get public resources. Who made billboards for Lukwago? You remember the billboards? Yes. Who made them? Who made billboards for Semuju? We have got somebody who says those billboards each was over each of them spent Lukwago over 1 billion. Semuju spent over what? 1 billion. Show me the kiosk which sells airtime which belongs to Semuju. Have you ever seen this kiosk of MTN or airtime? No. So where did he get the money? So I told you that we have been funding elections. It has never been an issue. All those periods, nobody has ever questioned where was the source of what? Funding. But in the 2021 is where the question is what? Coming. This double standard should not be accepted, and we shall not agree to people who talk with their tongues folded. During the day they are saying something, and at night they are saying a different story. Honorable Semuji is the biggest beneficiary of government money. You recall when he was a whip, and now he was now opposition whip. No, that's whip, chief opposition whip. Yeah, chief opposition whip. He was given a vehicle with even a lead car and a field with a fuel card. But also they gave him cash 200 million. If he loves Uganda and FDC, why didn't he either bring the 200 million in FDC or return it to the consolidated fund? Because he was already given it. Because he had already what? The government vehicle. I have mentioned about the people he employs. I want you to go and find out who his relatives are before he asks Museveni his relatives he has employed. I want to state, and I want to tell you, the people of Uganda, and I want to ask Saleh. He raised the issue to Lukwago. I know Lukwago goes to court, or even on a smallest thing. Why hasn't he gone to court? That clearly shows there is truth, and I wanted to ask General Saleh to give me authority to prosecute this case up to the end, because I am one of the best investigators in this world. And I will tell you, he's the chief beneficiary of public resources, and directly and indirectly. Recently, he was paid over 500 million by Attorney General that he went to court for a case that they were thrown out of office. There are many people who have won cases, years and down. They have never been paid their what? Money. If Museveni was not interested in him, would he have given him this 500 million?
And what I think is,
it is for your own analysis. For only 6 months. There are areas, I've told you, where he was in Juba, Nairobi, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, almost on the same days. I want you to ask a question. Did you send members of parliament to go and be trained how to do campaigns? I thought they are already campaigning my people. If you see those documents, he's almost every week in Nairobi training in campaigns. He went to supervise elections in Kenya for 14 days. Were elections in Kenya there for 14 days? Let him confirm he was there for 14 days. If he's a genuine man. And he says he's a Muslim like us. Allah. I want to challenge my brother Semuju, who has been doing character assassination of Nandala and Engineer Amuriat, to come out if he has more authority to challenge me and Engineer Amuriat. They should stop to be pretenders, and if they have any evidence on us, they are free to table it. I have declared all my personal assets with IGG, all my businesses, and how I have gained them. when I left the bank, I was being paid $20,000 per month in 2001. When Semujuzo left journalism, I was being paid how much per month? So if he has those properties he has, when he was getting nothing, what about me who is paid in what? I will also give a document which talks about the 300 million of agents which was given to our founding father, who claims he took pictures of the money, and when he was returning, he returned it in installments on the day of voting and thereafter, and we still have a balance. And if he says it was that money, he would have returned it all once, not in a what? I want to state that as a party, there was no need for our team to have gone to Zambia to spend all that money. They would have come here to question. Because you wanted to ask accountability, which we have provided in working committee, where there are all members, in National Executive Committee, in National Council. If you have not asked from there, why go to Zambia? In auditing, which I'm well versed, and as a professional, they raise a query. We have submitted our accounts to Electoral Commission. We have not got any audit query. And I don't know how Semuju and Rukwaganda team are capable to raise a audit query where their competence in that area is lacking. They made an allegation that we got money to fight NUP. Now, you can imagine FDC people becoming spokesperson for NUP. The person who should be complaining should be who? Senyonyi. But you can imagine Sir Lukwago and Semuju are the one complaining on their behalf. That shows that they are not members of FDC. They are just on top FDC, but they are NUP what? I want to state, we have never got money to fight NUP. And we want to say, if NUP says so, we are here. But I want to state that this confirms the truth of the last election. Why Lukwago was silent on FDC, but sympathetic to NUP and other forces. Now, if such a member can refuse and Semuju can do that, it clearly shows that these are members ready to destroy this party in the name of NUP. And I'm saying kindly resist it. As FDC, I would like to remind you that FDC believes in democratic processes. That's why we have the elections. We're in the election process. As the party president explained, our village structures start on 21st, and this is a command of the national, it is a command by our constitution, Article 15, Clause 4, which says there will be party branch elections. That also applies to 16.3, 17.2, and that's what the party is doing. I want to state that we have also received a petition where people say that the chairman FDC, the party president FDC, the chairman FDC president, the chairman, not electoral, the chairman, the national chairman, has no mandate to stop any election process. And that's true. The Electoral Commission of FDC is independent, and they do what they are supposed to do according to the law. And if they have decided to conduct the election, it's the command of our constitution. As the Secretary General of this party, who keeps the accountability, who is in charge of who is in charge of, who is the custodian of the law, that is say, responsible for compliance with all legal obligation of the party. I will defend this constitution. Anybody who tries to break it will not be accepted. It is so unfortunate that our brother Lukwago is mobilizing people for coming to disrupt the National Council. I want to request colleagues and brothers that don't do it. This is not a fighting ground. If you want to fight, you can write a letter. We'll also get you the number of people to fight with you, and we can hire Nachivubo for that purpose. This is a democratic party. It will not accept any violence. And I want to repeat, it will not accept any what? Violence. And my brother, Lord Mayor Lukwago.
People from Teso. So the chief the vice president is Teso. The speaker, Teso. Minister of Foreign Affairs, Teso. And others, these Erweru, or even in the army, those Erwerus coming up, the other one of disaster preparedness and others, you know, the IGP and so on. Now it was focusing the patronage to the north. The Chief Justice from the north. Of course, previously the Speaker Olanya was from the north and so on. So now, that is how even the Maus have been consumed. They see him now in the north, you know, so patronage is now in the north. And so what is emerging that I am now against, now I am the one against the East. I will also hear it, I'm sure that I am now the one against the North. Because now it is him who is their friend because he has been ejected from the South whom he was protecting. The people he was protecting in Buganda threw him out. So he has run across the river now. And now portraying the people in the South as the ones who are, I think soon they will become the killers of the North. And he will be the protector of the North against the South. So this is a divide and rule. And when you hear somebody bring, and it's very painful, especially in FDC, for people, because this is, we thought that this is really a revolutionary party with one Uganda, one people. That is what makes us. So to start infusing tribes is extremely shameful. Because if I was against the East, I am accused of having brought Amriat against Muntu. So where was Muntu coming from? And where was Amriat coming from? So why would I then fight Muntu and the other one? Of course, there have been many now accusations. Everything that can be thrown on me is being thrown on me. But I think the population will eventually get a Kasengeja. And of course, I have been accused by the Honorable Nandala now publicly that I didn't support him when he contested against General Muntu. So I don't know whether I have heard it going around, and it is true. I can confirm that I didn't support Nandala. I didn't. I am not the one to tell lies. I didn't certainly support Muntu. Because you see, it would have been, in my view, wrong. I was the party president. I was the one who handed over to the winner. So what is being suggested is that I should have actively participated in choosing my successor. Wouldn't that divide the party then? Because I was a president for everybody. I was a president for everybody. So why should I now say these ones are not mine? I will campaign for Nandala. Muntu is not, I am not his president. So I took a deliberate decision not to campaign for Muntu or for Nandala. And I had contested with Muntu. Previously, I had contested with Muntu. So actually, I was expected to fight Muntu because he had been my opponent. But I didn't. And that is my crime. To express open support, that I didn't express support that would help Nandala win. And there are many, many other accusations, but they will be sorted out, I think, soon.
Yakaya.
The Lord Mayor was not here, and I kept on asking, where is our Deputy President for Buganda? We are concluding this activity in his region, and he has not appeared anywhere. Because we had a meeting in Masaka, we had another one in Impiji, and another one at the headquarters. Another one in Buikwe and Luweru. What I recollect is that the day we had a meeting here, taking stock, and the day we had a meeting in Impiji, he was in Kamwocha, hobnobbing with our colleagues of the National Unity Platform. So it would be unfair for you to be offered a platform to air out your grievances, and you don't show up, and then you decide to go outside the party organs and demonize it. You've been told about the Dr. Nawiso-led investigation. Yesterday, again, unfortunately, I heard my brother, the Honorable Semujunganda, bragging that one of us, the chairman of Mbarara, Mr. Katembe, has resigned from that committee. It is very unfortunate. What I know for a fact is that Mr. Katembe was facilitated to come from Mbarara and fully attend, contribute, and participate during that investigation. And he never declined that appointment. And the report was compiled. If he really had dissenting views, he would have authored a minority report.
Need
And
answers in English.
A big foolery. Because you want to create this image that in a crisis and people have started resigning. Really? Do you resign after accomplishing a task? If you really mean well, you should decline the offer of the task, or you should give your dissenting views through a minority report. That is how civil people behave. There is nobody who is going to expect that FDC as a political party is going to run like a marketplace. Even a marketplace has leaders, because we have these market masters who organize the markets. So if a market can have an organized leadership, what do you expect of a fully registered political party?
Or why saying didn't I speak out quickly about the problems that were emerging in the party? It really, you have to understand, I have two issues. First of all, I was the party leader and stepped down, and other leaders were appointed or elected. There is a danger, and in fact I have been very, very unfairly accused by many people that I still breathe behind the necks of those who are now running the party. And it can really happen to keep on interfering with the management of the party as if you want your own ideas to continue in the leadership of the party when you are no longer leader. So I have really attempted to not engage myself in the running of the party or trying to, comment and influence what goes on, so that leaders, take charge of their parties. Occasionally, and it is only very occasionally, when I may meet a leader and comment about anything on the party. I have been interacting with them, but not on party matters. We've been interacting maybe on how they could help in the broad struggle that we are engaged in, the resistance struggle, but not on party matters. And I believe they can, testify on that. Never get involved. But secondly, even where you think you should be involved, the nature of involvement is important. Because you must first of all exhaust the internal mechanisms of resolving any contradiction for that contradiction to go to a wider membership of the party. And as I have told you, that is, in this particular regard, that has been my approach. When I first got the issues, I discussed them with those directly concerned with it and nobody else. In fact, hardly anyone got to know about this until when I talked to the wider leadership in the National Council. It's also a small organ. It consists of district leaders. But that is now, I had now escalated it to a higher number of people to know about it. So I think it's, and I have told you that before the National Council, we did not, to answer, I think it was Canary who was asking, was it Canary who was asking why now?
No, it was Bate.
Yes, it has not been now. It started in 2021. It has taken time. We have had meetings, and getting people to meet is not easy. So we get meetings, you spend 2 months maybe before you get another meeting, but we haven't started now, not at all. This is the culmination of it. And so when you eventually can't fail to handle something, then you take it to, you involve more people until you go to the public. By the way, even when we were breaking with NRM in the 80s, in 90s, especially 90s, That's exactly what happened. We had many meetings, internal meetings, but they were not resolving anything. We escalated it to have more people involved. Still nothing worked until it went to the public, you know. Structures. I hope you all still remember that I was a party leader for 7 years. Abadde wa Luganda? Oh, sorry. Obuuzizza lwaki tetwazimba structures z'ekibiina kuviira ddala ku mitendera egya wansi egy'oku byalo n'okutuuka waggulu ezandibadde oba oli awo ziyamba mu kugonjoola ebizibu bino. Nafuuka party leader mu 2005 nga guggwako nga naakadda kuva South Africa. Of course mukimanyi nti oluvannyuma nayitira mu makomera n'ebirala. Naye amakomera n'emisango egyo gye nkubulidde bwe jaggwa ne tutandika okuzimba structure buto. Waali wazimbibwa structure naye ne tuzimba structure buto. Okuviira ddala wansi ku buli kyalo okutuukira ddala waggulu. Era y'ensonga lwaki twafuna akalulu akalala naate ku ntikko nga 29. So akasooka kaali 25, akokubiri kaali 29 nga twali tuzimbye kuviira ddala wansi, kati 29 nga tulina okufuna akalulu ako ku ntikko. Emyaka 5 nga teginaggwa. So ne taamu yange eyasooka nagikutulamu olw'okwagala okuzimba structure etuuke ku ntikko. Era ke kalulu ke nasooka okuvuganya ne gye n'omuntu aka 29. 2012 emyaka 3 nga akalulu ako kawedde nalekulira kuva mu kibiina. Mu bukulembeze bw'ekibiina. Kuva lwe nalekulira okuva mu bukulembeze, gye n'omuntu yaddamu n'azimba structure. Jjukira ye yali kampeyini ye enkulu nga agamba tulina okuzimba structure ez'amaanyi. N'addamu n'azimba structure kuva wansi kutuuka waggulu. Era structure gye n'omuntu gye yavuganyizaamu ne Honorable Nandala. Structure gye n'omuntu gye yavuganyizaamu ne Nandala ye structure gye nalekawo. Structure gye nalekawo ye yamulonda. N'alonda structure endala ye yamuggyawo. Kubanga abantu abamu bagamba nti nze nali mukulu kwe olw'okumuggyawo. Nedda, nze structure gye nalekawo ye yamulonda. N'azimba structure endala n'emuggyawo. N'olwekyo ekibiina kizize kizimba ki structures. Era wandibadde nga wazimbibwa endala 2019 yeyo eyayisibwa bubi COVID. So structure nakati ekyaliwo yeyo gye n'omuntu gye yakola ki gye yazimba. So mujjukire nze kati okunvunaana ku bitambula mu FDC tekiba kya bwenkanya, kubanga nze nakulembera FDC asooka era ne tugezaako okuzimba ekintu ekipya ekitaaliwo. Ne tukizimbira myaka 7 gyokka. Nze nakulembera FDC myaka 7. Kuva lwe nava mu bukulembeze kati wayiseewo emyaka 12 ndowooza. 12 oba 12 ndowooza kuva lwe navamu. So mmaze emyaka ate wayiseewo abakulembeze banjawulo kati babiri. So influence yange mu kibiina tesobola kubanga yeeyo gye nalekawo. Waliwo ebintu birala bingi, buli omu azimbye structure yiye biki. Naye ebizibu bino tebiva mu butazimbibwa structure. Ndowooza biva mu structure ngeri ki gye zikozesebwamu obukulembeze. I think the problem is a leadership problem. So our party is still worth. If was that in Uganda? So ekyo nkimanyi naye kino ekya parties oba zikyalina omugaso. Parties zikyalina omugaso, naye mugaso gwazo si gwe mugaso ogw'olubeerera gwe zandibadde zikola mu biseera ebya obwenkanya, mu biseera mwe muli obwenkanya mu ggwanga. Kubanga bwe wabeerawo obwenkanya mu ggwanga n'enkola eya demokrasiya, ebibiina byandibadde bitegeka ngeri ky'eggwanga gye likulemberwamu n'aba n'alikulembera. Gwe gwandibadde mulimu gw'ebibiina omukulu. Naye mu buwambe mwe tuli, kyenva ngamba nti ebibiina bwe biteekyuse munda mu byo ne bisobola okugenda mu maaso nga biina bye bikola wakati mu buwambe, bijja kusaanawo byokka, bijja kusaanawo. Naye kikyasoboka ebibiina bino okwekyusa munda ne byetegeka mu ngeri endala etasobozesa obulabe bwe byolekedde kati okubikolako obulabe nga bwe bibikolako kati. So nze mpagira ebibiina bibeewo naye byetegeke mu ngeri endala ebisobozesa okununula eggwanga, si kuvuganya buvuganya kukulembera, kubanga tewali kyakukulembera kati, ensi eri mu buwambe. So biina okwekyusa munda bifune obusobozi obubisobozesa okulwana kwenunula, bisobole okubaawo mu ngeri eya bulijjo. Era ekyo kyekikyagaanye mu bibiina. N'abawambye eggwanga kyebalwanyisa okulaba nti tekikola ki, tekibaawo. Kati gundi mwami oli yabuuzizza ku kya ssente. Okusooka nakugambye nti nange saagala okwegatta ku banaffe obutassa kitiibwa mu ntegeka eriwo ey'okunoonyereza n'okwanjula bye bazudde ab'akakiiko. Saagala kati nga kamaze nakatuulamu nenkawa byemmanyi, byendowooza, byendaba, byonna nabikawa, kawandiisa alipooti, tenatuuka eri gye abaakateekako. Kati okujja wano mbawe details ze nawa akakiiko, era nga bannange bye babadde bagezaako okukola sikirowooza nti kya buntu bulamu, era sijja kukikola. Naye bwe banaamala kusoma ripooti, awo nja kubawo waddembe okulaga oba bifulumidde mu ripooti oba tebifulumiddeemu, wendi nja kubawo waddembe okulaga nze kyemmanyi. Nawulidde nti ripooti ejja kwanjulwa nga 28 mu National Council. Si kyekiseera ekiri wala. Oba nange yabuuziza oba nange mu ngeri y'emu nafunanga ssente oba simanyi oba nakifunye bulungi. Of course jjukira nze emyaka gyonna 7 gye nabeerera mukulembeze w'ekibiina twali tetufuna ssente za gavumenti nga eziriwo olwaleero, zaali teziriiwo. N'olwekyo ekibiina twakyeyimirizaawo ffekka nga ssente twali tuzijja oba oliawo naanyizibwa oba obutaboogerako mu ngeri esobola okubateeka mu kabiina nnyo abali wano. Oli bw'abeera wano n'akuwa kasente kiba kya bulabe okutegeeza nti ono yatuwa ssente. Naye mmwe ng'abakulembera ekibiina mmwe mulina okumanya ssente gye zikola ki, gye ziva era n'entambuza yaazo. So ssente zonna bwe zijja ngeri ki gyonna gye zivuddemu zigenda ku akawunti yaki y'ekibiina, era ekibiina ne kisalawo nga bwe zikola ki, nga bwe zitambulamu. Era nanyigira nnyo bannange ne mbabuuza nti so kye mwagala okutegeeza musobola okuba nga mwalowoozaako nti nzija ssente ewa Museveni ne musirika, kubanga bwe musirika kati awo nammwe muba mufuuse eki, balabe b'ekibiina, kubanga bw'ojja ssente kwoyo gwe mwagala okulwana naye kati eyo eba treason oba okolaganye n'oyo, kubanga jjukira tetulaba omulimu gwe tukola nga just okuvuganya. Waliwo eyawamba ensi mu bumenyi bw'amateeka, gwe mwagala kununula ensi. So bw'owulira nti waliwo akolagana naye butereevu, kiba kya bulabe era mulina okusitula amaloboozi mu kyogereko. Njagala tutegeeragane nti tulina okwawula okufuna ssente kwabo oba oliawo abakola ne Museveni n'okuzijja kwani ku Museveni yennyini. Kumpi buli omu mu ggwanga akolagana nani ne Museveni. Abasumbuzi bonna balina okulaga nti bakolagana nani ne Museveni, kubanga bwe batakiraga ajja kubateekako emisolo, ajja kukola ki, era bw'akola fundraising abasuubuzi abangi bakola ki, bawaayo nga bo balina n'okulaga nti bakoze eki, nti bawaddeyo. Naye ffe bwe batuwa tebaagala bawamanya nti bakoze eki, nti bawadde neeno. Naye nga bwe guli abasuumuzi baagala baweeno neeno nayo tomanya enkya. So eri bwe bw'ateekayo akawumbi gwakuwa miliyoni 2, singa naawe olituuka era akujjukiza ti tomanyi nti nakuwaayo miliyoni 2. So njagala twawule okufuna ssente kwabo abakolagana ne Museveni n'okufuna ssente kwani ku Museveni. In fact n'abakola naye ne bwe babanga bakola naye mu gavumenti ba civil servants. Civil servants bawagidde nnyo ekibiina kyaffe naye muki mukyama. So eri bakola oluusi n'abapoliisi bennyini bano abatukuba emiggo, akukuba emiggo emisana ekiro n'akuweerezayo 10 n'agamba mugende mu maaso. So ekyo kyanjawulo n'okugenda mu State House ozijjawa kwoyo, kubanga noono akuweera eno mu nkukutu naye ayagala oli akole ki, agende. So waliwo enjawulo awo, era nze njagala kubategeeza nga siina kwerumamu kwonna, sikolaganangako kuva lwe nafuluma kuva mu NRM, sikolanga nako ne mwami Museveni n'ensonga ze zonna mu ngeri yonna, sikolanga nako nabo. Kolagana kwange nabo tusisinkana mu lutalo wakati sikolanga nako naye era emirundi gye tusinkanye just kusinkana kubeera awamu ne tusinkana giri ebiri mu mikolo gy'abannaddiini Namugongo. Otherwise simusinkanangako sina kolagana naye. Ne miliyoni ebisatu nakyo ndowooza sijja kukiwa budde, nja kukyogerako era nga alipoota efulumye. Patronage kitegeeza ki? Patronage kitegeeza nti oyina favor gy'owa abantu bakole ekyokola ki? Ye patronage. Kubanga oyina gw'owa akole ekyoyagala. Okozesa by'oyina, either okugaba emirimu, oba okugaba ssente, oba okugaba ebintu, kuwadde ettaka, kuwadde donation, kuwadde kino, eyo ye patronage. Njagala ombuulire oba nze nina kyengaba. Tiwaliwo ogwengabira omulimu mu pate, waliwo ogwengabira ssente, waliwo ogwengabira tewali. Era n'okubeeramu munda mu kibiina siriimu nakutegeezezza, ne mu ntuula z'ebibiina siriiyo. So kati nfuuka ntya kizibu kya kibiina nga siri munda mukyo, siina kyenkozesa ku influencinga bali munda, kiki ekinfuula. Naye nakugambye propaganda abalina obuyinza bw'okugizimba n'okugitambuza n'okugifuula amazima, era yaani ye yawamba eggwanga, yanfuula owakoonye, yanfuula omuntu we yanfuula alwanyisa ab'omu East, yanfuula omugagga omuvundu. Omanyi ennaku zino ka bizinesi koka kembadde nkola aka petrol station y'Ensambya nakawaayo nakazzaayo, era abantu nendaba kyotegeeza totolo zonna sizizo kubanga waali wazimbibwawo propaganda. Besigye nga bwali mugaga muki muvundu, era ayina mawoteeri, hoteeri Kwetoria yiye, simanyi hoteeri ki, simanyi ayina amasomero, simanyi mugagga. Ebyo yabijjawa wakati mu lutalo nga agamba bamulwanyisa, yabijjawa. Ekituufu byennina nabeera nabyo nga entalo zino tezinakola ki. Ne ka petrol station ako nakatandika mu 95 nga bino sinalowooza nakulowooza nti nja kulwana ne mwami Museveni. Ettaka lyange lyekasanga tikwempangaalira naligula era mu myaka egy'ekyenda nga sinalowooza kulwana ne mwami Museveni. Nali sirowooza nti nja kusulayo eyo, nali naligula nkolereyo emirimu, nnundireyo nkolereyo emirimu. Nali sirowooza nti nja kusula eyo. Okulowooza okusulayo kati nga ntandise kulwana nga wensula sikola ki siina nga saagala era bangobe ogenda opangise wano bayite mu mupangisa mu landlord akugobe kwe kugenda akangende akako ke kakonya. So wabaddewo ekirala?
BBS yosoma ekibuuzo kyo.
Ndowooza yabadde yakatuuka ambuuza amagezi gembawa, magezi era natutte ebbanga ddene wano nga ngezaako okugalaga. Ono abuuzizza oba ekibiina nkitwala mu NUP, era ye accusation emu nagambye nti waliwo ebintu bingi kati byonna ebinjogerwako bingi biyitirivu sobola kubiddamu byonna ne mbiyitamu naye nga ekyokutunda FDC mu NUP gwe musango ogumu gwe nnina abajjukira oba abayina abategeera ebibadde bigenda mu maaso sirowooza nti NUP we yatandikira ne weetambudde waliwo gwekubye n'okuvuma n'okukola buli kimu nga nze jjukira bannumbako ne butereevu wali ku Bulange simanyi muntu omulala eyalumbibwa okuggyako nze nga abannumba baani ba NUP naye nakugambye nti ne bw'obeera mu kibiina ki ng'olumba nze nja kugamba njagala tukolaganirewa wamu oba onumba otya oba onumba otya nja kusigala nga nkugamba nti sinze mulabe tutunuulize emmundu zaffe eryani ery'omulabe era kyembadde ngamba aba NUP ebbanga lyonna okutuusa kati bwe twatandika n'okufuna okutegeeragana tulina ekizibu kimu era kati tubadde tutambula bulungi n'abakulembeze ba NUP mwatulaba e Nairobi mutulabye mu bitundu bingi nga kati tutegeeragana of course abaagala tetukolagana era mwebali enjuyi zonna nga baagala ekyo kireme kukola ki kubeerawo era nga bwe nakugambye so yes nze nja kukolaganira ddala wamu butereevu
butereevu omulabi wa BBS telefayina eyaffe ey'obwakabaka bwa Buganda kadde kagenderedde eddakiika ebulambale okuwera essaawa 7 tugende mu programu ekisaawe naye enteekateeka ya press conference zonna tugezezaako okulaga Kasavu Kanyama ebiri najja nankumbi era ebikyagenda maaso ate n'ebiri e Katonga
gye bakola ki nayo gye bali ng'abali mu FDC ng'abali mu bibiina byonna so abatali balabe tunaabalabira mu bikolwa nga beegasse kulwana teri ngeri ndala gye tusobola kumanya omulabe okuggyako abagaana okwegatta tukole ki tununule ensi ekyo kyekiddako era kati tweteekateeka okulaba nti tulumba batajje mu kulumba be tunaamanya nti balina ki balina ebizibu ndowooza biwedde mwebale nnyo mwebalire ddala
nja kwogeramu naye anaddako yanabeera centenary njagala okubeebaza mwenna abazze wano mu press conference eno abamemba ba parliament betulina abamawulire abamemba ba FDC ba leaders ba FDC supporters ne Uganda yonna okusooka FDC no gyolaba ye party etambulira ku mateeka tulina ssemateeka ye constitution yaffe era nga secretary general nze nkugamba nti bw'okola ensobi nga amateeka bwe gagamba amateeka gajja kukwata kyoba olaba nga party fefeka abagoberera amateeka mu Uganda njagala kubuulira abaana Uganda nti bw'obeera memba wa party wadde olina ekifo kyenkana kitya n'ovaamu n'ogenda mu party endala nga mukyala Ssebugwawo bwe yagenda okoma okuba memba wa kibiina ate ne structure leadership gye walina oba ogivuddemu njagala okubuulira abaana Uganda aboogera nti Nandala ne Poa bagenda kutwala ekibiina wa mwami Museveni ku pick up oba ku lole ekyo kye kisoboka kubanga bwe banga tuvudde